Hello, everybody. I am Lauren, and I'm here with Sarah and our dear friend Adam. Adam is going to be visiting with us in Kentucky in the Red River Gorge for this amazing workshop that we are so excited about called Playing in the Dark. And the dates are October 3rd through 6th, Red River Gorge in Kentucky. And we want to share with you about why and how this came about. Adam is now teaching this workshop in California and other places around the world. And we're just really blessed to have you with us. And for me, this feels really important and impactful in my life. This work that Adam's going to share about in just a second, because playing in the dark, one of the things that we feel like is one of the important tenets is transforming and working with our jealousy to eroticize our jealousy. And um, I have felt this firsthand getting to work with Adam at the last retreat we attended together, and in my relationship with my beloved. Um, we encounter jealousy sometimes and have this, these beautiful experiences with others, and are leaning into, how that can be sexy and juicy, and hold us together closer, and rather than it feeling like it's a thorn in our side. And um, something has really shifted in our relationship since doing this work with Adam. Um, and I feel like I want to just pause there and say, Adam, would you share with us about this work and what
Mm,
inspires you?
mm,
And maybe if if there's something that stands out to you in that work that the three of us got to do, that you would share.
mm. Yeah, yeah. For me, this work is about all the parts of us that we deny, that we reject in ourselves, like all the feelings and the places that are like, oh, I don't know what to do with this, and it's not just the loving of all these places and embracing them, but like actually like realizing that there's so much juice there. There's so many gifts in these places. So it's really like seeing our heart like jealousy is, or anger is, or like the or grief even. Like so. It's like allowing all these energies to like come forward, to be present, to be made conscious, and to like to have fun with them, to actually enjoy the juice of these parts of us. And it can seem like such a we have such a often like such a strong idea that like these things shouldn't exist. I should never feel jealous. Such a problem if I feel jealous, for example. But actually, like it's so rich. It's such a rich experience. There's so many different feelings and flavors in there, and so many ways to play with them with our partners that are actually very hard.
Hmm.
So it's really like an invitation to like to explore ourselves in a really different way. So it's not just like accepting ourselves, but like really embracing, loving, enjoying, playing with all the different parts that are here.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, when you shared that, it, brought me back to just remembering, for jealousy for me shows me what I want.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, leaning into that and noticing the subtleties, and yeah,
Mm,
yummy.
yeah.
Setting
Yeah,
the
I was experiencing grief the other day with a partner of mine, and at a certain point, like there was sort of resistance to feeling the grief, and then it was like, oh no, this is like an expression of love. This is how my love wants to express right now. And it was
Yeah.
like it's so switched from like, oh, I don't want this, to like, oh, it's so beautiful, and just like opening the heart and letting the tears come. It's like
Yeah.
delicious.
To stop compartmentalizing it or casting it off or shaming it. We're just like, let's move toward it and see what's in here.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Like let ourselves actually enjoy all the different feelings we get to have. so much of like the way our conditioning is set
Mm.
up is like to avoid experience. Like we had things we couldn't process, or were made wrong by society, or we weren't met in by our caregivers, and we're just like, oh, I don't want that. And so much of it is like about numbing ourselves out, and just sort of narrowing our focus. Like, no, this is what I am. This is what I am. No, that doesn't exist. That shouldn't be here. And it's like, and like shutting ourselves down. And this work opens us up. So it's like, oh, right, I get to have the experience of being alive. I get to have the experience of intimacy, of love, of connection. And I get to feel all the places in there that are all the different sensations, and the stuff that's like pain actually becomes like enjoyable, becomes pleasurable, becomes like, oh, this flavor of aliveness. I get to have this.
Yeah.
Want to name something that I think could be coming up for folks as they may be listening to this, and that before I did this work with Adam, I don't know, I think I would have tripped up on this a little bit, that it can seem kind of impossible or like out of reach to be able to really own or embrace those parts of ourselves. And one thing, Adam, that I really benefited from when it comes to working with you is we chose a situation to work on that wasn't super triggering, actually. So I started playing in a way that was accessible to me, where my nervous system could handle it. And so then a few months later, when I found myself in a much more triggering situation, I could still access the pleasure and the kind of the alchemy of the work that we had done together, even though it was with a lower intensity situation. And it
Mhm.
actually really helped me to be able to transition and to bridge those feelings in a time when it really mattered for me. So I
Yeah.
it's a presence that's like, I think, part of the kind of the nitty gritty of like how this works, that it can seem very out of reach and impossible, but if we choose the right, think, situations to work on and ways to play, and that's, I think, part of what we'll do in the workshop is find the right situations to play with that can help us alchemize these feelings.
Yeah. Like
Right.
our Goldilocks dose. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like when we had like, and the retreat is such a great space for that, right? Because we have so much resource, so much love in that space, and we're going to go on a deep dive together into our vulnerability, and so it allows us to like to take to lean into these places of challenge for us in a way that's safe. So we're not like, oh my God, I'm in the midst of the trigger and we're trying to find like how to enjoy it. It's like we're playing with these places inside us in a very resourced way,
Yeah.
and then like it shifts our embodied relationship to these feelings, these experiences, so that then when it is a more triggered, intense situation, it's like, oh, like I can open to this. I can allow myself to have the vitality of this experience, to
Yeah.
feel it. Yeah.
Yeah. And for me,
Yeah.
the bringing in the pleasure was like a huge part of what allowed me to embrace these harder to approach parts of myself. Like the pleasure
Mhm.
is the medicine and really brings the healing, I think. So, Lauren, did you have something else?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just brought to me around like what feels like pleasure to me is connection. And I feel like the pain is when we're in disconnection. So if we're disconnected from those parts, which is what we've been programmed and shown to do, to not feel the pain, that's disconnection. And that feels for me like the worst. And so that's how I feel like what the magic is leaning into, even if it's the scarier, it's vulnerable, it's like it's allows even through something that is, yeah, jealous or the confusion's like, I want to stay connected with this. And so then that can become pleasurable. And then
Mm.
the other thing that came to me is that not just in our romantic intimate relationships can this be beneficial, but I've already felt it applied in other familial relationships and at work. And so yeah, just to that there's some way that it's, I think, touching into worth in me and accessibility, my power, and even when
Mhm.
things aren't going the way that I want them to, or I'm not getting exactly, what I want in the moment, that it's not feeling like a reflection of failure or, you know, it's like, oh, just like what else is here and what's in it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm. Oh, so beautiful hearing your experience there. Yeah. I love what you said about connection as well, like how that's so powerful and healing. Like, because it's like you're saying, like that's the experience we had of like, oh, we've got to hide these places. The people we're around can't hold them with us, don't want them, and then to realize that we can actually bring them forward in a playful way and like actually have them seen and loved and like wanted, desired. That's the other piece is like for a long time I've known that like love can meet everything, love can embrace every part of us, but like this work is also saying like and eros can embrace every part of us.
Mhm.
Like all these parts have eros, have life energy, have vitality, can be sexy and desirable. So that's it's like tapping such a powerful resource to really see that and bring eros forward and like, oh, how might we play with this erotically? How might I use the juice that's here to really have yummy sex, to really
Yeah.
enjoy the pleasure of it.
It's like expanding the spectrum of what love and eros is, that it doesn't just look like this thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's vast, vast playground. Yeah.
So I hope that folks consider joining us October 3rd through the 6th here in the Red River Gorge. There is an application for folks to complete for attending the retreat, and I'll put the link to register in the link with this video, the comments of this video, or maybe the description. I'll put it in the description. Yeah, there we go.
Mhm.
All right, thank you all.